Alright, let's just do it. So make a tier list of minion skills in PoE as of 3.16. Before 3.17, we'll nerf the living shit out of everything, right? Let's find out. So first things first. Like, I just want to make sure that people understand that this tier list is based on my personal preferences and has nothing to do with which build is the best around or not, right? This is specifically just me basing my personal opinion on the build's efficiency and what I think of it. Now, the thing is with Animate Guardian is that Animate Guardian is one among the best things you can use in 99% of minion builds. And I also have the Chains of Command build, which I'll be making a build guide out of very soon. The thing is, because of its support role alone, I would, without a doubt, put that as an S tier. A minion build not using Animate Guardian is not a minion build you want to play. You should always use Animate Guardian, even on lower budgets. It's just so stupid with how much value the Animate Guardian brings to the table. Next one is Animate Weapon. My favorite build of all times is Animate Weapon and Poison build back in Breach League. Now, they nerfed the living shit out of that, so that's not something that is that good anymore. When it comes to Animate Weapon, is that it's still very, very good. It's still a very good build. It's just a matter of personal preference when it comes to actually playing the build. And it's the whole summoning process of it. So I would put this as an A tier because you can actually make it do endgame content fairly smoothly. That's what I would say. Then we have the BAMA. BAMA is Blink Arrow, Mirror Arrow. I hate playing this, but it does perform. It does perform. So I'm going to put it as a C tier because I think that it's still really good. I just hate playing it personally. And then we have Golem builds, which in general is either Stone Golem for single target, or for better clearing, you want to use Carrion Golem. This is one of the most well-rounded minion builds you can actually play. I am personally not a huge fan of it, but it does perform very, very well. So I'm going to have to put it on A tier. I would prefer to put it on a B myself, but I'd say that the Golem builds in general are so well-rounded. It functions very well on a low budget as well as it does on a high budget. DP, now I'm a big fan of DP. I think that you can do it on low budget for endgame content and you can skyrocket the build over 100 million JP DPS. It's something I've done several leagues in a row. Even 3.16, my main character was a DP build. It's going to be an S tier. It's just ridiculous with the performance of that build. It does all release Maven Feared and all of that shit as well. It's just absolutely beautiful. Then we have Dominating Blow. And Dominating Blow is a very acquired taste when it comes to playing. It forces you to be up front in the midst of the fight and just sit there on top of the enemies, right? The thing is with the Dominating Blow is that it's among the most solid League starter builds you can play. It requires nothing. It transitions very easily into mapping, and you can very easily upgrade the tier. The problem is the single target of it is kind of so-so. So I'm gonna have to put this as an A tier because I think it's one of the best builds you can start off with, and just have as a reliable, sturdy League starter build, and it doesn't fall off until later endgame. Herald of Agony, I don't want to talk about it, so let's just put it on a D tier because it's a fucking shit boring ability. Super slow, sluggish, and it's all about ramping up the defenses on your build with a tree and the ascendancy, and they're just ramping up damage from clusters and whatnot. It's just fucking awful. It's terrible.
Loves cock? I do actually. I do love cock.
And anyone who plays Herald of Agony should feel bad. That's just the way it is. Then we have Herald of Purity. Now, Herald of Purity is really cool. The problem is that with the recent changes we've seen, we're in a position where a lot of the recent changes have made Herald of Purity kind of so-so in terms of efficiency, which created a scenario where pretty much anything else would be better, even if it's a decent way to use it. I like playing it, but I also feel that the efficiency nowadays is so bad that I can't put it higher than a B tier, and I would even put it down on a C tier personally, because I really wouldn't play it because of how good everything else is compared to Herald of Purity. Same thing goes for Holy Relic. You can do Holy Relic quite effectively, but the problem is that pretty much everything else will be better to play with. That's the problem I have with it. It's just better to play with anything else, but it can still work. And then we have Ray Spectre. Now, in the previous time we made this video, a Ray Spectre was an S tier build. And we were talking about Syndicate Operatives. The new Spectre, or the Spectre we're going to use for main damage sources right now is Slave Drivers. And the Slave Drivers are really, really good. They would have been an A tier. It would have been here. The problem is that since the start of 3.16, they've been reported to GGG that the Spectres were bugged in their AI, and GGG hasn't fixed it, despite reports on a daily basis. Still no fix to be seen. Hopefully that'll be sorted with 3.17, and I'm going to be completely honest with you boys, I completely and seriously doubt that they'll actually fix it. However, the usage of Spectres for utility is the reason I'm keeping it on an A tier, because the utility Spectre options that you have access to has been absolutely crazy. Arena Masters, Chieftains, there's the Primal Rex Matriarchs, the Primal Crush Claws, and all these things with Harvest is really, really good. 3.16 introduced Scourge, which allowed us to have Pale Seraphims, Demon Harpies. So like the amount of options we have with utility Spectres to supplement your minion build is really, really good, which is why I want to use these. There's some other options that have been nerfed in the past, such as Thayer Tool, for example. Not as good these days, but the options you have when it comes to support utility Spectres is just so fucking good, and they kind of make and break. They don't break, but they really supplement minion builds across the board, similar to how the support version of an Animate Guardian is the craziest thing you can have for minion builds, with the amount of buffs you can provide to your army through these two means, which is why I really like using them. That's why they're so high in the tier. Race Zombie, I had a surprising amount of fun with the build I was making recently, which is going to be a guide up very soon as well. I don't like the endgame scaling of zombies that much, so the super high endgame, you can still do feared and stuff like that with it. Gonna cost a bit of currency to get there, but I think it's fine. The problem I have with zombies is that they're kind of lackluster, but not as lackluster as Herald of Purity. So I'm gonna put that up on a B tier, and that's basically because I feel like you can do better with so many other options, but they still do perform. And then we have skeletons. Skeleton archers are down here. If I could put another tier down here, I would just, you know, fuck that. Skeleton archers are so bad. Skeleton melee build and skeleton warriors are pretty okay. They're like a C tier, but not much better than that. The thing is with skeletons is that we have Dead Reckoning, and Dead Reckoning is an S tier right now. It is crazy with the amount of efficiency in both clearing and single target, and how well-rounded that is. And I would arguably say that Mage Skeletons right now is probably one of the most well-rounded and best minion build in the game to play on all types of budgets. It's even more well-rounded than the Golem builds. That's how crazy good it is. SRS, lackluster performance, mostly used for leveling. There are better options to leveling with, obviously, but it's mostly used for leveling, like Infernal Legion, SRS Popcorns, or something like that. It's just mediocre at best. I want to put it on a D tier, but I'm going to put it up on C tier because I know you can still make decent builds, maybe even B, but I'm going to keep it on C for my personal preferences. Absolution, however. Now, Absolution was brought to our attention thanks to Kriparian. We had a lot of discussions about this, and then when I finally had time to play it, I know Mathel did a build around the same time as I did as well. Absolution with Doriani's prototype, crazy good. Even without Scourge, Crangle, Negative Lightning Rest, it still performs insanely. Clear speed is a bit so-so. You're gonna have to ramp up your own personal defenses with a build like this, but it will destroy bosses insanely. Like, the amount of damage you can pull out of Absolution is disgusting. So I'm gonna have to put it up on an S tier because of how crazy effective it is with not much currency at all to just literally 2 or 3 shot endgame bosses. It's just absolutely disgusting. And then we have Reaper. Now, a lot of people love Reaper. I am not one of them. I'd say for single target on a higher budget, it would be like a B tier. The problem is that the amount of investment you need to make it good for bosses is too much, which is why I'm going to put it down on the C tier. That's it. I just think it costs too much for what it brings to the table. And next up is the Dancing Dervish. Sorry, not Dancing Dervish, but the Arakaali's Fang, which is the Spider build. Now, Spider build is to the same efficiency, or playstyle rather, or similar playstyle to Chains of Command. It's just that the Arakaali's Fang is just performing a little bit better and is a little bit smoother in terms of quality of life in more cases than not. And the Arakaali's Fang is just crazy how good you can make it. You can have stupidly good defenses while still pushing out a ton of damage. It's gonna have to be an S tier ability. It's crazy because in the current state of the league, we have so many good tier builds. I mean, I know people are complaining about build diversity, but 3.16 had an insanely good build diversity compared to previous leagues, if you just look at the efficiency of a lot of different abilities. So I'm gonna have to put the Arakaali's Fang up on S tier. with the spiders. And we have 2 more abilities that I wanted to talk about in this tier list, and that is first off Soulwrest. Now, Soulwrest has barely been touched this league. It was very good and very popular to be used last league, but not so much this league, which was kind of surprising, considering that we have, you know, the possibility of doing endgame bosses with Soulwrest quite easily, but also a very heavy emphasis on clear speed with a skirt mechanic. And Soulwrest brings both of those things to the table, which is why I'm going to put it up on an A tier. Now, from my personal preference in terms of playing this, not a huge fan of it, but it does perform very, very well. It's been a while. I might actually do it soon and soon again. But Soulwrest is really, really good. That's why it's going to be on A tier. And last but not least, in this tier list, we're going to talk about the Dancing Duo. Dancing Duo is terrible for bossing, like god awful, but it's a really cool ability and it performs rather fucking well when it comes to clearing, as long as you consistently keep that clear speed up going with a rampage. It's just really, really good. But the problem is, I fucking hate it. That's why it's going to go down to D tier next to Herald of Agony. That's just the way it is. So this is the tier list as a 3.16 Scourge League for minion skills in Path of Exile for me, in my personal preference. And looking at this list compared to the previous list we had some time ago, we're actually in a position where we didn't have this many S tier or A tier abilities that we have in the current league. We have so many more builds that we can play that performs very, very well in 3.16 than we had in the previous league, 3.15, for example. So I'm very happy with the build diversity that we got during Scourge League. But I also can expect quite a few nerfs that are coming up. We'll probably make a video later down the road, or later down the road, further down the road is the way you say it. With nerf predictions and whatnot. But I'm very confident that quite a few of these things will be at least in the risk zone of getting nerfed. We'll see about that. Hope you guys had use of this video at least, or found it useful or informative. If you liked it, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for more content. If you want to see more of these tier lists or nerf prediction videos, let me know in the comments below and hit the like button for more content. I'll see you guys in the next one. So till then, stay safe and keep rocking.